Hi, my name is Butch Antone. I have Super Frog Signs and Graphics in Moorhead, Minnesota. One of the things that I've learned over the last 10 years of being a keynote speaker on the national sign circuit is that I deal with a lot of newbies, a lot of people just coming into the sign industry. And one of the things that I've learned about that is that there are two things that those people don't know or don't understand. The number one thing is they don't know how to decorate on vinyl, they hear about it somewhere else, and they get misinformation. What we're going to attempt to do here today is we're going to provide you with the correct information, the correct way, and show you how to make some money. Now, the money concept is another aspect that I've learned after the last 10 years of doing these presentations, is that a lot of people don't understand pricing. How do you get the money for what it is that you want to do? Pricing is a very important thing. So what we're going to do here today is we're going to attempt to take you from a vinyl into a painted vinyl, into how to market and sell that vinyl, and how to make your maximum dollar amount. I mean, let's be realistic. My philosophy has always been very simple. Make as much money as fast as you can and then spend it. Don't leave it for your children. Let them fend for themselves. It makes it more exciting that way. So today, what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to a vinyl that I use and so on in my presentations, and a vinyl that I've currently taken on that's an extremely good quality vinyl for what we're going to do today. I use the MacTac vinyls. Let me grab the box over here. MacTac is the vinyl that we're going to use today. We're going to use both high performance and an intermediate vinyl. The reasons I use this is because everything that I've done on this vinyl since it's come out is that nothing has failed. Everything works for me. I've had absolutely no failures or problems with decorating on this particular vinyl. So basically, we're going to use the MacTac vinyl exclusively through the presentation. I will also show you the differences between the high performance and the intermediates. One of the facets about the MacTac vinyl that I really like and that I really enjoy is that MacTac makes a fan card. The next time you go to a major sign show, go to that show and go up to the MacTac booth and ask them for one of their fan cards, because their fan cards has every kind of vinyl that MacTac makes in that particular line of films and so on. They have the intermediates, they have the high performances, they have the translucents, they have all of the films. In fact, I even found a MacSoft 900, for instance, that's designed specifically for banners, which is actually going to be in video number 3. So when you get to us with video number 3, we'll talk about that more exclusively. One of my favorite films is the Macal or MacTac 8300 series intermediate calendar type films. Also, I go to the 9800 when I want a high performance film, and these two particular films satisfy all of the needs that I have. One of the things that I really like about the MacTac vinyls is that on the back side of it, they have 1-inch squares gridded on the back. This is ideal if you have to cut something or just cut a chunk and so on, and you need to measure it and you don't have a tape measure, you just count the squares and cut along the lines. Also, it's color coordinated. In our shop, if I go grab a roll of vinyl and I just look on the back side and it has orange squares, I know it's automatically 8300. If I go and grab a roll of 9800, I know that the squares on the back side are going to be blue. To give you an example of that, reaching back here, I can grab this roll of film and I can look on the inside of the core and it says MacTac for one, but I can also tell that it's 8300 or intermediate type films due to the fact that it has the orange squares. I can go to this roll of film. Again, I know it's MacTac because of the core, but I don't know what it is until I open it up, and then sure enough, it's a blue square, so I know it's the 9800 series film. This is the high performance films. That's one of the reasons why I like this film, is because it gives me those advantages. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the MacTac films and we're going to decorate them with paint. And the paint of choice today is going to be what we call frog juice colors. Now, for many, many years, I've used the different kinds of paints and so on and so forth that were available on the shelf at your local stores and so on and so forth, but the problems is that the formulations have changed on those a lot. So therefore, it created problems for us. In order to eliminate those problems, I created my own colors. We originally had the Frog Juice Clear, and the Frog Juice Clear is the green label. The Frog Juice Clear has been around since 1989. And its primary function is to be a clear coating, protectorant clear coating over vinyl, vinyl substrates, PVC, over the top of digital printing, for instance, the roll and color cam, the Gerber Edge, anything that's digitally printed and so on. Basically, this product gives it a liquid lamination or a clear protective coating. What I did is I took this product because of its quality and I know that it works, and what I did is I added an automotive grade pigment to this in the form of a colorant. Then I took the frog juice, mixed the two together, and I came up with the frog juice colors. Now one of the unique things about it is, of course, to maintain the super frog image and so on and so forth, we came up with these unique colors for you. We have bug eye white, fly black, lily yellow, frog spit yellow, sunset orange, ladybug red, and so on down the line. You can easily obtain one of these sheets or get the necessary information by calling 800-877-1907. Now, I know for a fact that these particular paints work extremely well on the MacTac vinyls, and I basically have no more failures. I've solved that problem completely. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take and we're going to decorate. Now what I've done is I've already pre-cut the word MacTac into an 8300 series vinyl. And again, this is a calendared intermediate film. This is a 3 to 5 year film. But what we're going to do is we're going to learn to decorate this. Now anybody knows that has been in the business longer than a week that it's boring to be cutting white or plain black vinyl after a period of 1 week. In other words, it gets tired cutting this and so on. So basically what you want to do is you want to be more creative. You want to decorate it. You want to make it more fun. You want to make it more unique. And the way you can do that, of course, is to use the frog juice colors. So let's go decorate a couple of things just so you can see how it's done. Now one of the things that a lot of people have heard or seen or have done or have been told is that you need to scuff this, you need to wipe it with alcohol, you need to do this, you need to do that. And that's not true. Basically all you have to do with this is just polish it with a clean paper towel. What I use usually is a Bounty or Big Wally paper towels or whatever you can get your hands on, a good quality paper towel. And I just take and I fold it, and all you have to do is polish the vinyl. Just polish it. The only reason you need to polish it, because this vinyl is already clean and it's brand spanking new, but the only way contamination can really get on there is from your fingers, or if you wipe along the side of your nose, or you scratch your head, especially bald guys, you know, we got that oil all over our foreheads and so on. And then you go and you touch the vinyl. So I'll give you an example. If I go like this and I touch that vinyl, I can look in this light up here in the ceiling and I can see an oil slick on there. So basically all you got to do is just polish the oil slick off and make it go away. You don't have to get crazy here. One of the main reasons you don't need to use stuff like alcohol is because if you wipe this with alcohol, that alcohol will go in through the cut marks and absorb itself into the adhesive. Then what you're going to do is you go over here and then you'll spray paint over the top of your vinyl, and then that alcohol will outgas, causing failure along the edges of that particular letter. And if you've ever experienced that particular thing, you'll understand exactly what it is that I'm trying to say. Now, let's take a can of the frog juice color, for instance, and we'll use sunset orange. The trick to applying the airbrush spray, and I want you to realize that when you live in northern Minnesota, yeah, sure, you betcha, this is actually called a Norwegian airbrush. Basically what you're doing is you're airbrushing, okay? You can tell people you went to college for 20 years to learn to be an airbrusher, but the name of the game is this is your airbrush. You're going to do a basic airbrush blend across the vinyl letters that are already pre-cut. Usually have yourself a pad, a trash can or something, and get the airbrush working good before you go. The important part is not to sit there and paint this thing like crazy. You don't want to go in there and do this. That's incorrect. You don't want to do that. That piece basically is no good. We'll just get rid of it. What we want to do is you want to go in here and put a nice soft blend across the bottom of that. The way you do that is you just go like this and let it sit for a couple of seconds. And practice by painting straight lines on your tabletop. And then go back and do it again. Let it sit for a couple of seconds. And then go back and do it again. And then just keep doing that until you build it up to the desired color that you're after. So basically, that's done now. I'm ready to go. What I have learned using the frog juice colors, that between the temperature range of 65 to 70 degrees with a relative humidity of, let's say, 60%, what's going to happen is that this will dry in 10 minutes all by itself, automatically. But because I'm a speed freak, I'm always in a hurry, I'm trying to get that customer out the door and make as much money as I possibly can. So what I will do is I will use a hairdryer. Now, if you go bald, you have another use for a hairdryer. I just want you to realize that. But here's the deal. Just bump it with a low heat, pass it back and forth across the painted area, and what this will do is it will outgas the thinners and cause it to dry extremely fast. What you will notice is you'll notice that the vinyl is curling just slightly. That's because all vinyl has plastic memory, okay? Now, just a little bit of heat, and that makes that dry. And once we've got that dry, then we can go back in here, and we can take our X-Acto, and we can go in here and weed it almost immediately. So once you get the corner started, go like this. And there's your basic airbrush blended letter. And there you go. It's that simple. So basically what we've done is we've taken a piece of vinyl, like this, which is unpainted, already pre-cut, and we've added value to it by painting on top of it. But once you've done this, now you ask yourself the age-old question, well, what difference does it make? How do I make more money doing that? And so on. And it's a very simple sales concept. Basically what you have to do is make yourself up some displays that you can utilize in your shop. To give an example, let's make a display real quick. One of the things that I have learned is to use, like for instance, PVC. This is Comatex PVC that I'm using. It's 1/8 of an inch thick. And basically what I do is I'll make up a square like this, and then I will add what we call a 3-tiered pricing. But before we do that, we need a colored background. Now there's 2 ways to make a colored background on a panel like this. The quickest and the most obvious way, of course, would be to take a piece of vinyl. Now what I'm using here is I'm using the Makin 9700 translucent vinyl and so on, which is a scrap that I had in the shop. And I'm putting it over white so translucent will work just fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Wrap Attack and I'm going to slightly mist it on the face side of the vinyl like this. And what this will do is will help eliminate static when I peel the liner off of it. Then I'm going to make a misting wet application over the top of this PVC. You don't need to drown this stuff. All you have to do is to give it a little bit of wetness. Then what we're going to do is we're going to peel this away like this. And as you can see, by spraying the face side, I've taken the static out of it. Normally that would snap to your body and stick like crazy. Then what we're going to do is pretend we're making the bed, and we're just going to pull this down like this. And bingo, there I got it. Then we're going to take our squeegee, and we'll take this same paper towel that we used earlier, and we're going to insert our squeegee into that, and then all we got to do is work from the middle out. If you see a ridge forming or whatever, all you got to do is pick it up and work it like this. Like so. You can see a ridge starting to form there. Just take and snap this up a little bit and go like that. And then squeegee it in all directions. Keep your squeegee straight up and down like this. Keep it up like this, a little bit of an angle at the most. Do not take and lay it over like that. Keep it straight up and down. And the reason being is you'll get a better squeegeeing effect, and you'll eliminate or squeegee that water or moisture that's underneath there out from underneath of it. Now, you can also see another reason to use the paper towel is you can see how dirty it is and so on, and that'll keep it from scratching and so on and so forth. Once we've completed this particular phase, what we can do then is we can take this piece now, and just taking your X-Acto, what you can do is hook it like this, and do that on all 4 edges, like this. And then what that does is that makes you a nice little board that you can use for your display board. And this is very important that you make these little display boards, because these will be your sales tools as time progresses. This is the kind of device that will make you a lot of money. Now we'll just squeegee that a little bit more, get rid of any moisture that might be under there, go along the edges. Now we have a nice red background on there. One of the reasons why I chose red for a background substrate is because red is a warm color. And everybody loves warm, fuzzy colors. and they like warm, fuzzy things. This is why I chose this particular background. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this particular word, MacTac, which has no painting on it whatsoever, and we're going to weed it just like we would normal. Like this, and weed that out of there, and weed this out of there. And so basically we have the word MacTac in plain white. And we're going to take and apply that to our board, our display board. We're going to use the Transferite 2001 tape. One of the reasons why I have switched, now I used to be a big fan of the 6592 high-tag tape, which I still utilize, but I like this new Transferite 2001, and the primary reason being is this tape sticks much better to the silicone release liner. And it's also a high-tag tape. You can always tell Transferite by the word Transferite in the core, and you can always tell by the red H in here, which means it's high-tag. So this is a paper tape. This is an extremely good quality paper tape. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a piece of this, and we're going to lay it over the top of the word MacTac, and then we're going to squeegee it from the middle of our letter up and the middle of our letter down, and then you can go left and right all day long. That's a very good squeegeeing technique for a person that's just getting started. Now we're going to remove the release liner, and we're going to save this because I'm going to show you a trick with that a little bit later. And then what we're going to do is we're going to place this towards the top. Okay, and now once we've done that, you can see that this tape has a curl to it. And if you're having difficulties removing your tape from your vinyl lettering and you're getting little bubbles, this is a trick that will help you. Again, go back to your wrap attack. And what you're going to do now, watch that piece of vinyl right there. I mean that masking. Watch what happens. The wrap attack is absorbed into the face of it and it neutralizes the adhesive, and what it does is it basically takes the aggressiveness out of it so that when I go to remove this now, I get a perfect application with no bubbles. I shouldn't say perfect because there is no such thing as perfect applications. But basically what I've done is I've eliminated 90% of my bubbles. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to do our next piece. But before we do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to airbrush blend a couple more pieces of the word MacTac just so that we can refresh your memory as to how to do this. Basically, we're going to take two more pieces and we're going to make them exactly the same. What we're going to do is we're going to go to yellow. Now, the primary reason I use yellow in my demonstration or my sales pieces is because of the fact that yellow, again, is a warm color that goes with the red. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to airbrush. Let's make sure we have them right side up. Yep. And again, remember now, just make a nice pass there. Practice by painting a straight line first. Then put a little bit of paint on there, let it set. A little more paint, let it set. A little more, let it set. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go do this one. Now, I want you to understand this. I'm going to count while I do this piece. And there's a very important reason why I'm going to count. Is I'm going to show you how long it takes to actually airbrush a piece like this. Okay? So 1001, 1002, 1003. And basically I'm done. So in 3 to 5 seconds on the average, you can paint another piece of vinyl and decorate it in this particular manner. Now, we'll bump a little bit of heat. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yep, that's good enough to use. Now, one of the questions that people frequently ask me is, how soon can I weed this and apply it? Well, we've only worked on it for about 30 seconds now. So what we're going to do is we're going to weed it right now, and then we're going to apply it. That should solve that question for you, and so on, so that you can go back and do your own pieces later on, and you'll be able to determine it and read it by actually reading the paint as to what it does. One of the things you'll notice that when you hit it with heat is it goes a little bit less glossy, not quite as shiny. What we're going to do now is we're going to weed the second piece, and we're going to apply it to our display board. It's very important that you make 3 pieces on everything that you do from now on. Anything that you do in regards to selling in your sign shop should always be related to 3 different prices. For instance, now we're going to make these into 3 different prices. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our board now, and we already have the original piece applied to it, the white. What we're going to do is apply a piece of the yellow. Again, going back to our Transferite 2001 series tape, we're going to apply that over the top of it like this. Again, using the same squeegee method, squeegee from the middle up and the middle down. We can do this, and then we're going to take and apply this. Okay, and again, squeegee from the middle up and then the middle down, and then go left and right. And then you can remove this, and if you need help with it to eliminate bubbles, again, use the Wrap Attack on the back side, and then we're going to pull this off like that. And so basically we're at this point in our application process. We have our 2 tiers now. This is tier 1, this is tier 2. Now we're going to go and apply the 3rd tier. We'll wipe off any excess Wrap Attack. Then we're going to go over here, and we've pre-cut with our computer, of course, a block outline and a shadow. Now, I'm right-handed. I always put the sunshine up here to my right-hand side, so this shadow will cast down to the left, and then it's going to have an outline around that. So what we'll do is we will apply that first. Again, using the Transferite pre-mask. We'll apply this in this manner here. Now the spacing, I'm just gauging it, but you can be more accurate if you want to. And then once I've applied that, remove my pre-mask. And now what we're going to do is we're going to apply this over our outline and our shadow. Now, at this particular point, I'm going to switch to the Transferite Clear pre-mask, the Transferite 1510 Clear. Again, it has the blue in the core, but this has a yellow M, M meaning medium tack. In the clear mask, in the clear tapes, that's usually what I use, is just a medium tack level. We're going to apply this like so. We're going to squeegee it the same way, from the middle up and the middle down. Then you can go left and right. Now the reason we use the clear pre-mask here is because then we can see through it when we need to register our lettering. So what we're going to do now is we're going to find the far right side of the letter, put an 1/8 inch outline at the top and into the corners, and then we're going to stick it down like this. Again, squeegee from the middle up and the middle down, and then we're going to go left and right. Once we've done that, remove the clear pre-mask. I want you to understand that on a clear pre-mask, it's waterproof. Putting this on the back side of it, you will gain nothing. But on the paper tapes, it works extremely well. Now, once we put down our 3rd level, this is the most important thing that you'll have in your sign shop from this day forward. This is your sales tool. This is referred to as 3-tiered pricing. Pricing is really irrelevant because when a customer walks into your shop, what's the very first thing that they ask of you? How much is a sign? Have you ever stopped to analyze that statement? Exactly what is it they're saying to you? They're walking into you and saying, I have no clue. I am a dummy. Please tell me how much a sign is. They're not coming in and asking price because they're cheap. They're coming in and asking price because they don't know any other way to walk in and approach you. They're not going to walk in and say, hey, that's a really nice shirt you have on today. Oh, wow, this is a nice sign shop you have here. I mean, it could be a garage like my sign shop. The moral of the story is they walk in and ask how much is the sign because they don't have any idea. So the very first thing you need to do is you need to qualify your customer. So to give you an example, let's say that a guy walks into my sign shop and it's wintertime, which it is here in Minnesota, and we're doing snowmobiles. Well, snowmobiles can be done at a particular price range, and they're done all over for like $18.50. But there's no way I'm going to do one for $18.50, knowing that I have a 3-tiered pricing concept available to me and that I can make 3 times as much money. So here's how the board works. It's simple. Let's say a customer walks into my shop and he says, how much are snowmobile numbers? The very first question I'll ask him is, what are you driving? Polaris, Skidoo, whatever the case might be. And then what I will do is I will walk over to this board and I'll say, which of these three do you like the best? Now basically what I'm doing is I'm asking the customer to qualify himself. I'm qualifying the customer by asking him that choice. Which of the three do you like the best? Now something is taking place here that's very, very important, and you probably haven't even noticed it yet, and that is this. Watch these two fingers. Which of the three do you like the best? I'm asking the customer via a request, which is non-intimidating. It's not making a demand or anything. All I'm asking is which of the three do you like the best? And at the same time, subliminally, I'm leading him to the third category. Now, why would I want to do that? Because if we already know that this, which is a lot of us are cutting right now and selling for $18.50, if this is what we're selling for $18.50, I've just now made a sales tool that's going to allow me the opportunity to get 3 times that much money. Again, which of the three do you like the best? One of the things you're going to learn is that your customer is no different than you are. They like this one because it looks done, it looks complete, it looks finished. Then what I tell them is that snowmobile numbers in this particular technique, and you've got good choice by the way, is about $60. And we'll apply those for you and we'll put the little state sticker on there and everything else. Okay, one of the problems that I get from certain people in certain areas of the United States is, well, my customers will never pay that. Well, the moral of the story is this. If you don't ask, you will never know. If you don't ask, you'll never get it. So the moral of the story is ask, and you'll be amazed at how many of them will do this. Even if you get 1 out of every 10, that's 3 times as much money if you made off of 1 customer out of every 10 than you've made before. So if you're a cheap person, if you're a cheap individual, if you think cheap, then you won't be able to sell it. The moral of the story is simple. Which of the three do you like the best? They go to this range. Give them the high-end price. If they accept it, terrific. You've just made a bunch of money. If they don't accept it, it's very simple. Which of the other 2 do you like? It qualifies them again, pulls them right down there. It cuts to the chase. It allows you the maximum amount of money in the shortest period of time. And if they don't go for this, hey, you already make this. It's a very simple option. So let's put a dollar value on this. If this is $60, then this one could be $40 and this one can be $20. So the moral of the story is anybody knows with 6th grade math that if you ask for 60 but you turn around and sell this for 20, it makes it real easy because normally you get $18.50, so I just got another $1.50 just by asking for more money over here. You could make this $25 and still get it because this one's 60 and this one's cheaper. So the name of the game is if you don't ask for 3, if you don't ask for the 3 tiered pricing concept, you're throwing money out the door. It's that simple. Now, one of the things that I have learned in my shop is that you can take and do this and make a board that's specific to whatever it is that they want to do. For instance, let's go and do this. We'll make a quick little board over here. Let me grab this for you. What I have here is I have another board. Because I live in Minnesota again, we have a lot of people who come in who want boats done. So what we do is we make up a board that will say boats, boats, boats. And again, we tell customers that we're going to color coordinate according to their boat. So what we'll do is this. We'll get a clean paper towel. We go in here. We polish our vinyl. We get it ready to go, like so. And then we have 3 pieces. 2 of them we're going to airbrush. So what we'll do is we'll take the yellow, we'll do the same tricks we did before, just blend it across there lightly, let it set momentarily, lightly, lightly, again and again. Now remember what I said earlier about this taking approximately 3 seconds? Well, look at this board again. If a customer doesn't choose this for $60, but he goes to this one for $40, how long did it take me to do that airbrush blend? 3 seconds. So the moral of the story is I went from a $20 letter to a $40 letter in 3 simple seconds. That's what you call making money. And that's the thing you have to remember. Now, let's go back to our other board. Once we've airbrushed those 2, we'll apply a little bit of heat to them. What the heat does again is it outgasses the thinners, causing it to evaporate rather quickly so that we can utilize it. It doesn't take very long, usually anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds on the average. And then once we've done that, we're going to go in here and we're going to weed. Now the reason I make up individual boards like this is because of the fact that some people can't comprehend if you have a board that has your name on it that says Butch, 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 for instance, or Super Frog Signs, Super Frog Signs, Super Frog Signs, they can't visualize that on a boat. So what I'll do is I'll make a board that says boats, 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 because then they're thinking the boats, and what you're doing is you're putting them into a state of mind or a frame of mind that they're already thinking, and therefore it makes it much easier to sell that concept. Okay, so basically what we've done is we've done this, and we've done this. Now what we got to do is weed this one, and with a little bit of speed and dexterity, you will be amazed at how quick you can make up your sample boards and so on. It does not take very long to do. And make yourself a half a dozen of them. I mean, if you're doing boats, if you're doing motorcycles, if you're doing snowmobiles, if you're doing trucks, make one for each occasion. Now, what we'll do is we'll assemble this on our board. Like this, this, and this. The first two require paper tape, which we will use here. We're going to apply that to the top of our board. Now, snowmobile numbers are usually an inch and 3/4 of an inch high. And then they're approximately 8 to 12 inches long, and are a total of about 16 digits total. Boat numbers, on the other hand, have to be 3 inches high and a minimum of 16 to 24 inches long. They're usually 24 inches on the average. Even though it's not a heck of a lot of difference between doing a snowmobile versus doing a boat, we get more money for our boats simply due to the fact that the boat numbers are bigger. The actual cost of the vinyl is probably 25 cents more, and that's all. But as far as the actual concept, it's exactly the same. So now what we'll do is we'll apply the word boats in the outline and the shadow. Like this. And you can make these things up so easy and so fast in your shop, you can't believe it. I mean, it is simple. The neat part about it is that the small investment that you make in doing this, your rewards are tenfold. Your profit margin is phenomenal. Again, we go back to our clear tape. We line it up like so. There we go. Now, here's how this works. Customer walks into your shop, says, how much are boat numbers? I walk over to the customer and I go, which of these three do you like the best? And they go, oh, this one's really nice. No problem. We'll cut and apply those, we'll color coordinate them to your boat, and we'll put those on your boat for $75. They'll go, oh, $75, okay, well that's a little more expensive than I planned on spending and so on. Well, which of the other two do you like? And they'll say, well, I really like this one. Not a problem. We'll cut, do it color coordinated, and we'll apply it to your boat for $50. And then what we'll do is we'll go back to this one, for instance. Let's say the customer says 50 is too much, and he goes back to this one. What I tell him is that this one is $30. Now, I've already established in your mind that $18.50 is the national going rate across the United States, but I just made $30 for an $18.50 number that you're normally selling, just by asking. And that's the important thing here. You have to ask. All right? Let me show you some other samples and things that you can do rather quickly, and so on. And then once we've done that, we're going to go and show you some actual examples of where you can use these techniques. For instance, you can take simple tools in your shop. Remember what I said earlier about saving this liner? This liner is silicone on the one side, which means it's kind of slick and nothing really sticks to it. This, of course, is the paper side. What we're going to do is we're going to do an airbrush blend on here. And we're going to use two colors, for instance. We'll put one color down there, put one color to the top like this, and we can either leave that as it is and leave it as a beautiful colored blend of sunset colors, or we can take and go and lay this over the top of it like this and just run our fingers over it and make it kind of a marbly pattern and then pull it off, and we can get this funky design or pattern into the paint. So you can easily decorate it in many different ways. Another example would be take another piece of vinyl like this and take a squeegee and notch it with an X-Acto knife, physically cut notches into it. And then once you've done that, go down here and lay down a couple colors of paint like this, and then take this squeegee and physically do this technique. I call this the heartbeat. And you can do it any way you want. And basically what you get then is you get this multiple patterned look that you see here. And again, give these designer names. When you do a technique like this, give it a designer name simply for the fact that it's easier to sell something with a designer name than it is to say, well, that's my notch squeegee on wet paint on vinyl trick. So call this the heartbeat. And basically that's what this is the heartbeat. Again, let's apply a little bit of heat to it. Now the thicker and the heavier the paint, obviously the longer it's going to take to dry. Even when you bump it with heat sometimes, just bump it with the heat, leave it alone for 5 or 10 minutes and weed it. But I've done this enough now where I know how to get away with using the hair dryer and doing it quickly. Now this is going to be slightly wet yet, but because of my experience and background, I know how to use my finger occasionally to push a letter down. And basically what we have then is we have this heartbeat look, or the wavy look. Okay? So let me show you one more trick that you can use here that's kind of simple. And that is this. Again, this is Transferite clear pre-mass tape. But a piece of this makes for a very nice tool as far as crumple it up a little bit. Now you can use paper tape or you can use the clear tape. But basically what you can do is go into here, lay this down, and let's say that we want a Halloween color, so on, which would be orange, and then we'll use a little red in there, like this. And then we can go in there and physically stipple this and put this stipple pattern on there. And you can create a very unique pattern or design. Now, just to show you how you can use this same piece to do something different, but yet basically the same, we'll go back in there and we'll use the same colors again, like this, and then go in there and learn to. So basically what I'm trying to say to you is that the only limitations is your own imagination. If you don't have any imagination, a 6-pack of Miller Lite works really well to get that started and so on. But basically, look at these funky designs and patterns that you can make using simple basic tools that are in your sign shop every day. I commonly refer to this as trash vinyl because most of the stuff and the techniques that I use and do here is right out of the trash can. It's that simple. One of the questions that people commonly ask me is, how durable is the paint to the vinyl? And how good is the application and how long will it last and so on. Basically what I want you to understand is that the paint to the vinyl is the same as the vinyl. If this is a 3 to 5 year, you're going to get 3 to 5 year. If it's a 5 to 7, you'll get 5 to 7. The paint on the vinyl on flat applications outdoors as it is no problem at all. The paint on the vinyl on indoor applications is absolutely no problem whatsoever. One of the things that I would like to have you do though is that after you've decorated the vinyl and it's still not weeded, it should have the Frog Juice Clear applied over the top of it if you're going to use it on vehicle graphics. Vehicle graphics meaning your vans, your cars, your pickups, your planes, your trains, anything that moves outdoors that's going to get dirty, needs to be washed and scrubbed on and so on. Basically, all you got to do is lay the vinyl down after it's been decorated and dry, lay on one nice wet coat of Frog Juice Clear, and once you've done that, allow that to dry, and then you can weed it and apply it to your vehicles. Now, what I'd like to do now is I'd like to take you on a little tour and show you where you can actually utilize these in the application of your big signage and so on and so forth. Example, look at this banner behind me. This particular letter that you see right here with the airbrush blend, it has the orange on the yellow on a white letter, and this is all a vinyl letter. This particular part here is hand painted, but these are all vinyl letters. One of the things about the Frog Juice Color is they also work on the halographic films, the sparkly halographic films. It'll work on the gold mylars. It'll work on reflective. It'll work on all of the different types of vinyls and so on so that you don't have any problems. So with that, let's go and take ourselves on a little tour and we'll look at some signage that's actually been done using these techniques. Alrighty? As I promised you, here's some examples of how you can use the airbrush blends onto the vinyl. There's a lot of different techniques that you can make and utilize, but here's some sample boards that we've made over the years. You'll see here that the word No Worries has an airbrush blend of blue and purple together on a letter. You'll also notice that the water has a blue airbrushed over a metallic light blue, and even the little highlight on the shark's teeth has been airbrushed in by cutting a little slot into a piece of paper. On this particular panel that you see here, we started with an airbrush blend on the word Super Frog. Then what we did is we went down here and we did an airbrush blend with yellow and a little red splatter onto a white letter with a sign gold outline with a black outline around that. And then of course the background that you see here was using one of the same techniques, using the same paint onto a piece of PVC. On this particular panel, you can see what we did is we made a real fine line. We airbrushed it, set it into the sign gold letter, and then we airbrushed a white highlight onto the brown moose's horns. Then we airbrushed a little bit of brown onto the tan, just to give it a little bit of depth and dimension. Here we use just your standard pink airbrush. Here's your standard green airbrush, and it just gives you an idea of many different ways you can use it. You don't have to stop there either. This is a magnetic. We made a bunch of magnetics like this for the T&M electric people, and basically what we did is it's all vinyl, but all we did is we airbrushed this blend across the bottom using the Frog Juice white, the Bug Eye white, onto a piece of yellow vinyl. It's a nice way to make a magnetic, and also notice that we cut the magnetic out so that way it can go on any color vehicle that they happen to have. Another example is, like for instance, this 4x4 for this dentist office. All we did was use imitation gold, we airbrushed some white, imitation gold, and we airbrushed some white across the bottom here. And it gives you a nice, unique looking sign. It makes it look expensive, but in reality, you really haven't added a lot more time to it. Here's an example of a real estate type sign for Handy Randy. What we did again is we have the imitation gold vinyl, and we just airbrushed a little bit of white across there, and it emphasizes Handy Randy. The rest of the sign is just straight vinyl, but the little bit of blend, I got extra money because of that, just by airbrushing in the simple blend. Another example of a sign would be this one over here for Oliveri Salon. What we did basically is we took yellow vinyl and we airbrushed a little bit of red into it to warm it up a little bit. And this is a sign that they sit out in front of their shop and let the wind rock it and so on. And it has a little couple reader board tracks on it here. Now let's go into the back of the shop. I'm going to show you an example of how you can increase the size of the signage that you're doing using these simple airbrush blends. So let's go do that. This is an example of the size and the dimension with which you can do the airbrush blends on vinyl. For instance, this particular sign is 4 feet wide and is approximately 16 feet long. These letters from the bottom to the top are about 16 to 18 inches in height. It's a very simple process. We cut the vinyl out of yellow, and then what we did is we tilted the can back as we airbrushed the Bug Eye white Frog Juice color onto the vinyl. When that was dry, we clear coated it, and then when that was dry, we weeded it and applied it to the sign. But this is a classic example of how big you can go and scale, and this is a nice way to do a complement to your own signage in your own individual sign shop, and allows you to make more money. To give you an idea, this particular panel that you see here is about a $1,000 sign, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I used a 3-tier pricing and I sold it with the airbrush blends. Alright, here's an example of a project that we're currently working on. This is a color printout off the printer and so on from the computer. It's a 2x8 foot sign. What we basically have here is about a 6-inch airbrushed letter with a yellow airbrush onto it with a black outline and shadow. Here you can actually see the letters themselves airbrushed, ready to be assembled. I'm showing you these things to let you know that you don't have to think small. You can go as big as you want, you can go as small as you want. And with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for coming, and hope to see you in video number 2, and we'll show you a bunch of neat little tricks that you can utilize that are more thorough. I hope to see you in video number 2.